We are live, and actually, this is actually a really interesting live stream this week because Linda is on remote location. Where are you at, Linda?
I'm out here in Radium, British Columbia.
Radium, or so you're close to the hot springs then.
Absolutely. And looking forward to my fish derby this afternoon.
Fish derby. So you guys are you're going in a fish derby. Wow, in January. That is pretty cool. So is this ice fishing or is this open water fishing?
Ice fishing.
Ice fishing. Okay. All right. So do you have the whole hut and everything with the auger and the whole nine yards? Oh, good for you.
Not me, people I know. And it's so
Okay.
fun to go around from hut to hut because some of them are really elaborate with like wood stoves and flat screen TVs with fish cameras below. And
You're kidding me. So this is like pretty high tech stuff, right?
totally
Oh my
serious.
gosh, I never knew that. I just thought a couple of guys sitting in a little tent there freezing their butts off.
No, there's big money in this. I think it's $500 for the biggest fish,
Oh
and then it
jeez.
goes 300, then a $200, and yeah, it's totally fun. It's a great family day, and it's a beautiful day. There's no wind,
Oh
so
nice.
it's
Yeah.
really awesome out there.
Cool. Ice fishing. Well, you're gonna have to take pictures. We'll show them on the next live stream. We'll show Linda out there yanking in the big one.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. And it's a good day to have cabbage soup.
Yeah, and that's the topic for today, folks. We're going to be talking about cabbage soup. It's actually food detoxing, but we're focusing on cabbage soup. So, Linda, first of all, why food detox? I always thought that detox was you took some herbs to detox, but food, if I understand, can be a detoxer.
Yes, absolutely. So there's like something people would call the mono diet. So you keep everything very simple for your body to digest and process, and you want it to be a hypoallergenic food. And typically, most people can digest cabbage. It's found everywhere in the world. In fact, cabbage has been said to have helped in the bubonic plague come
Really?
to a halt because it was high fiber, high vitamin C, and plentiful. So people were able to sustain themselves on a simple diet, rest their digestive tract so that their immune system actually worked better. So cabbage has a wonderful history. And of course, it comes fermented as well as a
Right.
sauerkraut. So there's many good things about the cabbage and how we can apply it to a food detox.
So
That's why
are there a
this.
lot of foods like cabbage that have this kind of medicinal purpose, not just for sustaining life, but have this medicinal effect on the body?
Yeah, well, the cruciferous vegetable family has been known to have a sulfur compound that can act as both an antibiotic and
Oh,
a
wow.
treatment for the intestinal lining. So then you've got the group of people that will often say that they can't tolerate those foods. And my message to them is I guess there's some more food detoxing to do.
So if they have problems with it, they need the detox. They probably need it.
Yes, and maybe not that kind.
Right.
Something else that we can find that's tolerable for them. And that's when the herbs and the supplement type detoxes may be important for them to do. But anybody should be able to uh, experiment with a simple mono diet type food detox. Mhm.
And so cabbage is one of the ones that you recommend, obviously through the soup cabbage soup marathon. Can you put other stuff with the cabbage soup? Like, can you put carrots and stuff, or should you strictly stay with cabbage and just spices? Like what?
Yeah, and on my website there
Okay,
is a base recipe that people can use,
okay,
and there I like to put celery, carrots, onions, garlic as part of that. Maybe some potatoes, to parsley to give it some more flavor, and also a number of different types of herbs.
right, right. Very cool. So how
Yeah.
often should a person, do this kind of a, okay, let me step back here. So you had mentioned before you could do it for a day, you could do it for 3 days, but you're doing it for, I think, was it a whole month?
21 days.
21 days.
21 days. I'm still here. Um,
Thank goodness.
and, I can totally appreciate what people will be commenting on when they said what their results were and issues. But let me just say that my 21 days was broken at about day 15. And it was because I was invited over for dinner and I didn't want to be the naturopathic cripple and say, no, 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 I'm doing a cleanse. And it was something really yummy and I wanted to participate. So I broke my cleanse. But here's the key thing is the next day I got back on board.
Right.
So I didn't let it dissuade me just because, oh, well, I broke it. So now I'm not going to finish it off. No, chop,
And I think
chop.
that's a really, really good point because a lot of times we go, oh, I broke it. Yeah, I'll just give up. But that one little break probably didn't ruin everything you had been doing as long as you get back on the horse and keep going, right?
Right. And there wasn't a big double fudge chocolate something or other dessert that could have really blown it. It was, good, healthy food. It was
Sure.
just, this cabbage soup diet for me has been a vegetarian based situation and I indulged in some animal protein. So
Right, right.
what can I say? But overall, it was just a different form of lots of vegetables still.
Yeah.
So did I
Yeah.
really break it? Not
Sure,
really.
sure. Yeah, I get that. No, that's cool. That's cool. Excellent. So can you dive into the health benefits a little bit from doing this cabbage soup and doing it over a period of time? What can we see as health benefits from doing this?
So it will rest as a mono diet. Like I said earlier, it's resting your digestive tract. So uncomplicated foods to digest and lots of fluid. So I'm always harping on people drinking enough water. So if you're also having a wet diet, just like your pets having more wet food than dry food, it will sustain that process. And depending on what other herbs you use, it can also enhance the peristaltic action. So some people added ginger, which can also help the sweeping motion of the digestive tract, clearing undigested food material that may have been lingering there in some pockets of diverticulosis or that sort of issue. So, what we want to do is it helps clear constipation. It will clear brain fog because you're moving different bacteria through. So, there's a lot of health benefits from just resting. Let's also include health benefits as a mental health benefit. So, if you're clearing brain fog, it can also help us think more clearly, get in touch with a lot of feelings. And I must confess that my initial reaction that was going on was one of antsiness, grouchiness. Oh my goodness. I had no idea that this was sort of simmering below the surface. And it came up and I moved through that emotion. I
How
mean,
long how long were you in that? Because I remember when the first time I did a cleanse and I was off sugar, I think it was a couple of days in, it was like, oh my gosh, I didn't want anybody to be around me because I was so angry and snappy and edgy and stuff. So how long did that last, that period of, edginess?
yeah, I guess everybody's different. 2 to 5 days is
Two to
not
five days?
unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's when I saw the world really bothering me.
That was probably detoxing all of that stuff out too, probably at the same time.
Oh yeah, like it was just like off the deep end. I was just feeling like, oh man, I can't deal with all this stuff going on out there. And here I am. I'm trying to physically cleanse myself from
Yeah.
that stuff, but it takes time to get into the mental, emotional realms of a cleanse. Mm-hmm.
So just for the audience there, so if you're when you go to do, not if you're going to do it. Let's not use the word if. When you're going to do this, little detox, whether you do it for 1 day or whether you do it for 21, like Linda, warn your family. I mean, if you're living alone, that's probably not a bad thing. But if you've got family, you may want to give them a heads up. There could be some edginess there, right?
Okay, Gary. So you let me know when you're starting this. Excuse me.
Well, I've got to go on and get the recipe. I went and bought some vegetables today, and I didn't get cabbage, but I know where the organic place just down the street here has them. I saw them last week, so I'm going to pick up a cabbage, and I will dive in. I'm only going to commit to 1 day to start, though. Just that's all I can kind of. If I go 21 days, it won't happen. So I got to take a baby step here, and then we'll reevaluate at the end of the day.
Why I did 21 days is that I've been on a yogini retreat where that's basically what they served you for 10 days.
Oh,
So I
wow.
already experienced that. So I thought I would just extend it to 21 days and just see how that felt. And cabbages at this time of year are not the best. They're very white winter cabbages. One recipe I experimented with, because you can try different recipes that you come across. One I didn't get to was the Hungarian one. So with lots of paprika and caraway seeds too. But chopping the cabbage in squares was just horrible. I really didn't like that. So shredding it to me appealed more.
Mm,
So, and that lends me back to a program I was watching that a chef was putting on. And he was saying that how you cut your vegetables will create the appeal. And it doesn't mean you have to have them all beautifully flayed out like in a gourmet situation. Just by cutting the carrots instead of round little circular discs, you can rotate the carrot and chop it on an angle. So every chop is a different
a little
angle, and then
different.
that gives you a different perspective. This, like little carrot sticks, would be different, or how you chop your celery,
Sure.
or whatever other vegetable you put in there adds appeal and interest. So obviously, there's something energetic about the cutting and the slicing that can create a different feeling to the recipe.
So, would you recommend the purple cabbage or the green cabbage, or
You know,
both?
I think you should experiment with
Okay. You're going to get
the
the same effect either one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure that the purple cabbage could be interesting. You could also throw some beets in there. Beets are very
Mm,
cleansing. It's just be mindful that that's going to change the color of your soup. So if you're
yeah.
prepared for that, I didn't like tomatoes every time I made the soup, so that just started to taste a little bit too much the same.
Yeah.
So I didn't always put tomatoes, and of course that would change the color of the soup too. So
Sure. Sure.
all that all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to you doing this. Yay,
Yeah.
Gary.
Yeah, I'm going to give this a try. So the big challenge out to all of you people, if you haven't tried it, and apparently Linda, you've gotten some emails or texts stating that people are trying this out. And have you had any responses back of how they're doing?
Oh, absolutely. And I wish they'd come online here and tell us about them, because there's been people talking about, let me just have a look here so I don't forget some of the things fatigue was one of them. So when they did it for 3 days, they felt very tired. And
Mm-hmm.
let's not confuse that with a little bit of melancholia, or um, a little bit of grouchiness too, right?
Sure.
When you're
Sure.
when you're tired, you can be confusing that with it's very psychological. You certainly have enough to eat. There's definitely enough calories there. So if you're feeling fatigue as your main symptom,
Mm-hmm.
you're likely needing to do a lot more detoxing to clear more material metabolic byproduct out. Sure, the gas and the bloating may have gone down, but there's more material that needs to be drawn from all the tissues of the body and have it go out through either the urine or the bowel.
Yeah. I remember the
Yeah.
first time I did a detox. the person who was had recommended I do it, did it, and then I came back. It was about 2 weeks later, and they said, "Okay, you got to do it again." It didn't clean you out enough, so I was like, okay. So I did it another 2 weeks, right? And so yeah, so you're right. You don't know yourself what kind of effect, because everybody may have more or less toxins that need to be expelled. Correct?
Yes. And it's a learning experience about yourself and what are you experiencing, and just paying a little more attention. So did the cravings pop up?
Mm,
Many people said that, again, if they were doing longer than a 3 day, because that's when you start to look after cravings and bad habits. So doing 1 day isn't really going to do it, Gary, but 3 days will start to show you that habits or cravings are there in abundance and need
yeah,
to be
yeah.
addressed. Yeah.
Well,
Weight loss is another one too. People
oh, is that
experience.
right, eh? Yeah, I guess it
Yeah.
would be because you're not getting, a lot of heavy carbs and stuff like that, complex carbs or what have you, right? Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess you would lose weight.
Yeah, and weight loss may or may not happen in some people. If you're one of those that's just looking for another 10 or 15 pounds off, as opposed to having maybe more than 40 pounds come off, you may not see the weight loss that you would like to experience. And then I suggest that it's hormonally linked, and then a different exercise platform may have to reignite human growth hormone effects, which happens with high intensity exercise. So the hormones come into play there if you're not experiencing a weight loss. But
Can I ask you a question? And this is a little bit off of the detox, the cabbage detox, because you said something there that kind of made me think of this. Why is it when somebody goes to say, "Hey, I'm gonna go on a diet, I'm gonna lose some weight," they lose, if they're let's say they're 50 pounds or 60 pounds overweight, they lose a bunch right at the beginning, and then it kind of plateaus, and then it's like that the last 15 pounds is really hard. Why is that? Why is some comes off really quick, and then the rest of it is like painfully slow to get rid of?
well, again, you sort of hit it on the head there with how much is there to lose. And the initial weight loss, as people like to say, is a lot of water retention. And
Ah,
I'll just speak to that portion of it because I think the other part of it is a bigger discussion. But the initial loss of weight, which is inflammation water, as I like to call it. So when you're starting to eliminate excess carbs, excess food, the water is being retained by your body so that you're not toxic and literally burning yourself, so it dilutes all that with retention of water in
oh, interesting.
that's what's going on.
Oh,
So anybody, doesn't matter if they're under some kind of therapy, cancer therapies, many people bloat up, and it's because they have to dilute the toxicity with water. That's so they retain water.
got
Hmm.
it, got it. Oh, that is really interesting. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense now. And so once you've kind of gotten through that first part, the last part is okay. This is where the work comes in, and the exercise and portion control or what have you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, more focused on the type of exercise that needs to happen, and maybe timing of eating meals as
Right.
well.
So
Hmm.
getting back onto our soup here, should a person take some supplements to aid with the detox while they're doing the cabbage soup, or should you just stick with the cabbage soup?
I think for the purpose of we're discussing this from a general perspective.
Yeah.
So it's just basically a food detox.
Okay.
We're not enhancing it. You can certainly continue with your regular vitamin regimen that you may be on, or medications for that matter, because it's not going to interfere because you have unlimited amount of cabbage soup to eat. So you will not be in a deficit in any way. Um, Even blood sugar control, those that are taking insulin or diabetic medications can certainly monitor through this process and adjust accordingly. And they can add a few more heavier carb foods like turnips or potatoes. The idea being is you're taking a rest from wheat and flour products.
Right. So, did you find yourself when you're going through this that you got hungry, like you got hungry more, or did it sustain you? I guess that's probably where I'm going at. Did it sustain you, and did you have to have the soup more than 3 times to keep that sustainability for yourself, so you weren't like, oh, I'm starving, I can't wait for my next bowl of soup?
No, I think like I do intermittent fasting, but I didn't find that I had to eat and break that intermittent fasting routine. It was enough to sustain me. And as I mentioned earlier, too, it's psychological. Yeah. I mean, if you're doing a lot of manual labor, and I don't know too many people that are doing that at this time of year. I'm sure there are people that are out there doing lots of activities in the winter, but no, there's actually quite enough there that you can sustain yourself without any animal protein, or with enough potatoes and turnips and so on. And you can have several bowlfuls. Oh yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a psychological thing our culture has about we have to eat these 3 meals a day. They have to contain these things. This is an experiment for yourself. You
Yeah.
can observe and witness what you psychologically play games with in yourself about not having enough to eat. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that is just not an issue in our society. And the worst part of this whole diet is chopping all the vegetables and preparing the soup.
And you could probably, and this is where some prep work could probably happen, like, at the beginning of the week or during the weekend, chop a bunch of stuff up and have it ready in the fridge, and then throw it into your base, like you were mentioning. You have to start with a base and throw it in. I assume that. I mean, I'm not I'm not a big soup maker. Is that a right way of saying it? A soup creator, whatever. I
Yeah.
make chicken soup once in a while after either Thanksgiving or Christmas with the turkey. But other than that, I don't make soup. So this will be interesting to actually create this. But you had mentioned when you and I were talking offline a couple of weeks ago that you have a base that you start with, and then you put in whatever else extra stuff you want to put in. That base has the cabbage in it already, and then you add in carrots or whatever, onions, or it doesn't have anything in it at this point?
No, just using water. And I use the non-MSG vegetable bouillons.
Right. Okay.
You just add to the water and make it a little more
Flavorful.
sustainable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a base. I mean, you can put salt and pepper and create all your own spices, but to me, I like to use a base stock
Okay.
like that.
Good to
Yeah.
know. Good to know.
And it lasts for 3 days or more, even in the refrigerator. You just take servings out and then put it back in the fridge, so that it reduces the amount of preparation time. So Gary, this would be you're a busy guy, so
Yeah.
you make one pot and it's going to last you for 2 or 3 days, and you can add little things differently to that base big pot, so that if you think you're going to get bored, I don't get bored with it. And yeah,
So should a person have a stock pot? Because those stock pots are I can't measure it, but they're taller than the regular pot that if you have a bunch of people over and you're going to cook up some potatoes or what have you. It's bigger than that. Should a person be using a stock pot?
I guess. I mean, you have your different quart size,
Yeah.
preparation pots, and
Yeah.
that just stays in the fridge. And then you bring out, and either if you're a microwaver, you microwave it, or you heat it up in a smaller pot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
Easy, easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Okay. Well, I'm going to go to your website today. I'm going to go buy some cabbage, and we're gonna see. We're gonna experiment. We'll report back next week.
Yeah,
How
I
well?
want to talk a little bit about why we do this too and when we do it, because um, it's not just a yogic retreat that this is kind of nice to do and be in touch and connect. It's all about giving ourselves a rest. Maybe we do it pre-wedding. Maybe we do it post binging. We do this for 2 or 3 days to just help us get back on track. It's it can be a ritualistic thing. Even you can, every Sunday you
Mm.
can do it. There's lots of people with various cultures that have habits that ease the digestive system, and most of us haven't been brought up with that sort of protocol or thinking. And I think it's super important, and it's not dangerous to do in the winter. There's been a lot of chatter about how we shouldn't detox in the winter, but that's not necessarily true. People
Mm.
that may want to avoid doing a food detox would have to be severely ill, maybe just finish coming off of the flu, whether it's COVID or another serious infection. They're still a little bit under the weather, and
Yeah.
maybe it's not the thing to do. But on the other hand, a hearty soup would actually help them feel better quicker because their body isn't focused on digesting something that's really heavy and awkward and not helpful for
Yeah.
their immune system. So yeah, every case is different, and I think detoxes are really important for people to try and see how they feel.
So could a person make a big pot of this stuff and then after it's cooled down, put it into little containers and freeze it, and then when you want to have a thing, you just pop it off, throw it in a pot and warm it up and go for it?
Absolutely perfect. I
So for
mean,
for someone like me that would be
any
yeah, that would be awesome because in that way the prep time is what kills you off. So you could do all the prep at one time, and then you've got these servings that are sitting in your freezer in little, those little containers. You can get those plastic containers and then just pop it in. I'm gonna have to check that. That might be the way for me to keep that longer or do that longer.
So then after you come off of, say, just doing the red cabbage or the green cabbage soupathon, what do we do next? Well, I wouldn't jump back into our old eating habits. You want to sort of ease into maybe introducing a bit of maybe some eggs, lighter proteins if you want to reincorporate those. So, do you want to do whole grains, maybe small portions? Um, just play around with that for the first 2 or 3 days and just see how that starts to feel when you reintroduce
Right.
foods again. And
I think
you might be surprised.
that's an interesting thing you mentioned there because I think a lot of times they go, oh, good, that's over, and they go right back to what they were doing. Correct?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. Like, I really miss all those donuts and pizza, and of course, you can try it and see. Okay, I'm going to go back and eat all that stuff, and then just see how you feel.
Yeah.
That's why it's a do it yourself. Why don't you see how you feel when you eat like this
Yeah.
for an interim, and just notice how much better, happier, healthier you end up feeling out the other end after all the
Yeah.
things. So we're going to talk next week about emotional detox.
Ooh, that'll be an interesting topic. Yeah,
Yeah,
emotional detox. And I know I need an emotional detox, whatever that means. It sounds intriguing. It sounds really intriguing. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. Anything else that you want to? I'm just looking at my list of questions here. I think we've gone through everything that we wanted to talk about. Was there anything else you wanted to bring up regarding other than challenging everybody?
well, we'll do a more organized challenge, I think, depending on how people enjoy doing it next January as well.
Hmm.
So I'm not going to say there's any big prize money going to be offered, but what we'll
No
do is
$500 like the fish.
but I'm looking forward to discussing emotional detox because that seems to come up after we do a physical detox.
Ah.
And A physical detox can also be cleaning out your closets, cleaning out the basement, the garage, etc. It's a safe place to start. And often what happens is we realize we need to do an emotional detox.
Like this, like
Oh,
detoxing all of this.
I'm with you
I don't
there.
even want to look at that.
I'm totally there with you. Oh man, I just, paperwork is just the bane of my existence.
You and me
Oh,
both. You and me both. That's what I need to detox. I really get tempted to go just file 13, put that in the garbage, and we'll just carry on. If something is urgent, it'll come back at me somewhere down the line. But I know I can't do that.
that's true. I can't do it, but I do it.
I just no, Dino, don't need that. And I'm starting to do that with my emails too. It's like just turf it, unless it's
No,
urgent.
that's where my emails go
No, your
today.
email was there. I just hadn't got to it yet. Hadn't got to it yet. All right. Well, hey. So look forward to next week. This is going to be interesting. The next stage in detox, mental detox. That'll be interesting conversation. So, if you
Most
have any questions or comments, please post them in the comment section. We do look at them, and if you've got any other topics that you'd like to Linda to bring up in these, please also put those in. Say, hey, I would really like to know about this or that. Maybe you've got a health problem. Maybe you're concerned about a family member that has some sort of illness or what have you, and you've got questions. Don't go online to the online doctor. Let's talk to Linda Cogner because she'll answer it right here live, and you can get the real skinny on what's what.
yeah,
And especially because Linda, is both a pharmacist and a naturopathic doctor, you've got a very unique perspective that you share with everyone, which I think is just amazing. So thank you, Linda, so much for sharing all of your wisdom with us.
thanks, Gary.
All right, everyone, have yourself a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. All the best. Bye, Linda.
Take